Okay, so these videos are hard to make. I just wanted to let you guys know that Roofio, our bearded dragon, passed away yesterday. I know that a lot of you have been following our pets for many years and, you know, might have gotten some joy out of seeing him. He was that famous lizard that pooped on me one time. He was great, you know, he was my little buddy and we loved him. We're gonna miss him a lot. I know it really made me realize how much I like bearded dragons. You know, they're lizards, but they all have different personalities and you can tell that they have thoughts and feelings. I know in the last vlog I told you guys that I was worried about him. So Roofio, he's had some health problems for a while now. I don't know if any of you guys remember, it was about 2 or 3 years ago. He first had a decline and I had to bring him into the vet, and the vet couldn't figure out what was wrong with him, and they told me that I could either put him down or try and nurse him back to health with some baby food, and I opted for that. And he perked up afterwards and he was doing well. And then I guess in the last year or so he kind of had ups and downs where he would be doing better and then he would be off and I'd have to take extra care of him and hand feed him baby food, and then he'd perk up again. And this happened a couple times. I had to move him into a smaller cage because in his big cage he would walk to the cold end sometimes and not have the energy to walk back to underneath the light. So he was in a smaller cage to help regulate the temperature more, and so he didn't have to have more of a distance to walk to get under the light. And you know, for a while I was hoping that he'd just get his strength back and we could put him in the big cage again, and that never really happened. And then about a week or 2 ago I noticed that he wasn't feeling very well, and I started to get really worried about him, and I had this big crackdown where I was making sure that everything was perfect. I was carefully regulating the temperatures, checking the humidity gauge, and I even brought the big dehumidifier up into his room to make sure that the humidity level was the same as it is in Australia. And he seemed to perk up a little bit, like he started opening his eyes again, which before he was just laying down, had his eyes closed, and he seemed so weak, like there was so little of him left. Then I thought maybe he was getting better because he did start to move around his cage again, but I don't know if that was just the thing where you feel better right before you die. And then I got a feeling that one of these days I was gonna wake up in the morning and walk into the room and he was gonna be dead in his cage. And so for the past, you know, the past few days before he died, every time I woke up I was kind of like wincing before I would go into the reptile room. And then yesterday I woke up and John was already awake, and I saw that he had gone into the room, and I said, "Oh good, you went into his room. I've been scared to walk in there because I'm afraid that he might be dead." And I guess John didn't really like look at him when he went in, and then when I walked in there he was dead. Yeah. So he's gone now. No more dragons in our house. So it just always sucks when a pet dies. I had him for so long, and it's gonna be really weird not having him anymore. I was reading more about bearded dragons, and I guess their average life expectancy is 7 to 10 years. And then with excellent care, they can sometimes live to 12 to 14 years, but that's usually the max, which Roofio was about 12. And then I guess in rare cases, sometimes they live over 14 years, but that's what I was hoping for. And that didn't happen. But, I mean, I guess technically he lived longer than average. I just hope that, you know, I was doing the right thing, trying to nurse him back to health, and I hope that, I didn't stress him out more by trying to help him, you know. When I noticed he was weak, I was trying to give him baby food and, you know, just make sure that everything was perfect in his cage. And I got him a little plant. So, we're gonna miss him. We buried him under a tree outside. I asked John to dig a hole next to plants so that his body could go into some plants. I just, you know, I hope he knew that I loved him and that I really cared about him. I hope he's in some perfect desert reptile heaven, you know, where everything is perfect and he has lots and lots of yummy bugs to eat and that he's not in pain anymore. So, I've been, you know, like really worked up over this lately. Like I was nervous that he was gonna die before he died, and I don't know, it's over now. I hope he had a good life, and I hope he was really happy most of his life. So, rest in peace, Roofio. I loved you. Our whole family loved you. You were a good little lizard.